I'm very blessed to be here. In fact, I'm very happy to be here because I almost didn't make it. And while I was listening to this amazing introduction, and thank you so much for that, I was thinking to myself, just 2 years back, I would not have recognized this person. Because 2 years back, I was like an extra in my own story. And the star of my show was something we all know very well: fear. It is fear that stops us from sharing our stories of struggle. It is fear which tells us that our stories of struggle and challenge is more than that. It tells us that actually it is a story of shame, and we keep quiet. And I believe my fears too. Until the time we listen to our fears is the time that fear will continue to be a star in our lives. I was in an abusive marriage, and all my friends and family were not in a different city or state. They were on a whole different continent. And when it rains, it pours. So I got injured, and which turned into chronic pain. So I was in physical pain 24/7 for 4 long years. And during that time, I was not working, or let me put it this way, I was not able to work. See, there was physical pain, but one very critical aspect of domestic violence is what it does to the mind. Because violence is not just physical, it is psychological and emotional too. Someone has said something so beautiful, that sometimes the wounds which do not bleed are the ones which hurt the most. And there was so much confusion, shame, and humiliation. And these questions I asked myself: did I do something to deserve it? Am I triggering it? And the fear, that fear again, of people coming to know about it. Will they think of me as a failure? And when in that deeply vulnerable state, I reached out to someone I considered a friend. She actually turned around and asked me, "What did you do?" So you add victim shaming and blaming to the mix, and you have a perfectly vile, toxic, ugly mix which can corrode your soul if you let it. And I almost let it. I started believing the lies which were told to me day in, day out, that I was responsible for his bad behavior, that it was me and not him, that I had no options, I was not good enough. And I kept silent. But there was a vital part of me which never stopped questioning me. That why is it that I feel ashamed and guilty and not he? Why is it that victim blaming is so easy? Why are there so many people in this world who are so ready to find excuses for a perpetrator of the crime and so ready to judge the victim? But I told myself, Ruchi, hush. Silence. This is the breeding ground of unspeakable crimes against humanity. Silence. It allows crimes to go unpunished. Silence. An abuser actually banks on the silence of his or her victim, family, and society as a whole. And all of us aid by keeping silent. And we have to break this conspiracy of silence, because silence kills. It almost cost me my life. There was a night, a cold winter night in Sydney, when my husband, now my ex, came home drunk and kept a knife to my throat, shouting that he will kill me. And I'm very lucky. I'm very lucky that he changed his mind. But for those precious moments, my life, my precious life, depended on another person's whims and fancies. And I'm not going to stand here and say, oh, I'm so glad it happened to me because it has made me into a person I am. No. I wish it didn't happen to me. I wish I didn't know the terror one feels sleeping in their own home. But the fact of the matter is that it happened. And I had to decide. I had to decide where my life went from there. And whenever we face adversity in life, there are two key emotions. One, fear, which all of us know pretty well, right? Another one is courage. And the emotion we choose to go with decides the course of our life. And there cannot be any courage in absence of fear. So I had a very important decision to make. Fear or courage? Courage or fear? And I'll be honest, I was so tempted to choose fear because I knew what fear felt like. But again, there were two questions. One was, if I had died that night, there is a very high probability that I would have made it to national news because value of human life is immense in Australia. And I asked myself, is this why I've taken birth? To just be a statistic? And thankfully, my answer was no. I, Ruchi Singh, refuse to be just a statistic. And there was another question. What if I had died that night? What if I had died that night, then what would have been the value of my life? Because the only way we add value to our life is when we add value to other people's life. And this changed my life. I chose courage. And I took responsibility for my own life, good, bad, and ugly. And the magic is that the moment you take responsibility for your life, for the situation you are in, you move from a place of weakness to a position of strength. And I gave a voice to myself. And it's so funny that when you are voiceless, very few people will give you a voice. But ooh, so many people get uncomfortable the moment you start expressing myself. And it happened with me too. I suddenly got these well-wishers who had just kindness in their heart and told me that it was a very bad idea for me to talk about this, that I should actually keep a low profile. So I heard them. I gave it a thought. And then I wore red. I got on a stage in front of 500 people. I gave a talk on domestic violence, combined with the message that we human beings have resounding power within us to recreate and transform our life. You see, I was done hiding. But my well-wishers, boy oh boy, were they persistent. They again told me that, Ruchi, you're being very foolish. Think of your life and do not talk about it. I was like, yeah. And I created a YouTube channel. And guess what I called it? I called it Ruchi Singh Talks. Like I said, I was done hiding. And when we decide to stop hiding and we decide to share our not so perfect story with the world, we provide a safe place for others to be vulnerable to. We inspire them to choose courage too. And why is courage so important? I cannot put it better than Winston Churchill when he said that courage is rightly esteemed to be the first of the human quality because it is this quality which guarantees all others. Without courage, there is no change, there is no innovation, and definitely there is no empowerment. And we need courage in our day-to-day life. Like the first time I gave a talk, some women were upset with me because I had included men as victims too. And I understand, I would know, that the number of women victims is disproportionately high, like there is no comparison. But I stand against violence, and I stand for all the victims irrespective of their gender. See, I know what fear and pain feels like. Then how can I not understand another person's pain? I chose to stand for them because pain has no gender. And it took courage. It took courage for me to decide that I will fight for my cause the way I believe in it. It took courage to choose love when hate would have been easy. So, in short, we need courage to walk out of that abusive marriage, to leave that safe job, to start that new venture, even to ask out that attractive man or woman, even to tell someone for the longest time, I have not been hugged, so can I get a hug? And to all the women, all the wonderful women and men who have been made to feel like a loser, who have been told that by sharing their stories of weakness, they will appear weak. I have just 2 words, and listen very closely, 2 words. Utter bullshit. I was told the same. And 18 days from now, I am a speaker in a summit in United Nations in Bangkok. And like she very kindly shared, I won the Global Powerhouse Award for 2019. I was invited to be a change maker at She Creates Change. And change.org has a presence in 196 countries and has more than 200 million followers. Thank you. Thank you. Today, executives, entrepreneurs, IT professionals ask me to be their mentor. And most importantly, that people from all over the world reach out to me telling me that my story of struggle and courage has helped them to gain their own strength. So now when I die, I will have the satisfaction of knowing that I did my little bit for this beautiful world. And I would like to finish by saying just one thing, that I've shared my story of failure and some success for a reason. I want you to choose courage, because when you choose courage, it will get you out of hell. It will take you to magical places you never even imagined. And most importantly, it will make you connect with the real you. So choose courage and wear red. Wear it figuratively, but wear red and declare to the world that I am done hiding, that I have the courage to stand up for myself. I love and respect myself. I have the courage to stand for my cause, because when I stand for my cause, I make it easy for so many others. You are your own destiny creator. So I hope you will wear red. Thank you so much.